This is what takes us to our next segment, which is a very special address. And I say that because I'm now going to invite someone on stage who will be telling us so much more when it comes to diversity, to equity, to inclusion, from nice to have to must have. And when I say this, I have somebody who truly believes in making sure that she works towards the advancement of people. She has been recognized as one of LinkedIn's top voices of India in the year 2022 and 2019. Before that, she has a doctorate in psychology. She has represented her organization on various national and international platforms, including the Partnering for Racial Justice and Business Initiative with World Economic Forum. She really is the one person who brings diversity, equal opportunity, value-based leadership, and so much more to the corporate. May I request all of you to please put your hands together for Dr. Ritu Anand, who is the Chief Leadership and Diversity Officer at Tata Consultancy Services. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. So, very interesting session, and especially I liked some of the things that we have to go back to the basics. But coming to nice to have to must have about diversity, I hate that word actually now. After 15 years of talking about it, representing my organization and many other forums, what is it that will work? Because we are still not there. How many more years we will keep talking about it? So I have a personal anecdote which relates very well to this subject. So I want to start with this. All of you, if you close your eyes and imagine the last 2 years, all of you in some form or the other would have done some gardening, okay? Putting flower pots in your balcony or in your living room or hanging it on wherever you want to, the place or a garden. What do you do when you raise a plant? You have to buy a flower pot, you have to irrigate the mud, and then you sprinkle the water. How much water you will sprinkle? And I have personally seen, I don't have a green thumb, but I personally see some plants will just grow, and some will just wither away. And the ones which I actually really want to grow never grow. So I was wondering, what am I doing wrong? Then you go to a specialist, and then you learn something, and you try again. In the morning, you go there in the balcony, and you see, am I too close? And if you go to the balcony, and before making my cup of tea, I see it's not grown, I feel sad. Somehow, diversity and this irrigating your land or your flower pot and seeing the flowers or the fruit bloom, I started thinking about my subject, which was recently for the last decade has been, among other things, diversity. So how much to talk about diversity? How much to focus on diversity? How many sessions to go to and attend and listen to in diversity within your institution or outside? Do I have answer today? Maybe, because I have the fortune of being in an organization which is like a universe, 620,000 people. So, and with all forms of society representation within this company, TCS. You have women, you have men, you have able, you have disabled. You have people who linearly think and who think in a very complicated way. And you need all of them. You really do need all of them. And when you see that there is a research backing it up, that if you have ethnically diverse people in your workforce is ethnically divergent, then you have at least 32% more chances to be successful. I said, wow, really? Who did that research? Of course, very renowned organization. You all have read it, have done this. So one of the must-have in my mind now, and our leadership endorses it, is that let's not talk about why of diversity. So why diversity is needed is now one of the hygiene or passe things in my opinion. It is nice to have if you can, for example, all IT organization or project-based organization, let me coin a new word, a new explanation of this ITES and IT organization, that project-based organization. And some of us have done some surveys that the project teams which have more women and more ethnically diverse people, their profitability quarter on quarter is better, or their revenue is better or not. And the results are showing, inching up. But that is for us, okay, for us to keep driving the diversity within the organization. Trust me, on the side, I will tell you that these numbers actually motivate you a lot, because you really need to tell the overrepresented segment in your organization. Mind you, what am I saying? I'm not saying men, I'm not saying women, I'm saying overrepresented versus underrepresented segment, because there are some industries where we have more women than men. There are more people who have a mindset to think, think from a type A, and who don't think the other way. And we can talk about it over a coffee if you want to. But these are very inspiring examples in the organization. I have looked at it and I feel very inspired, and you can do that. I don't know what organizations you represent, all of you, but I'm leaving a thought in you that if you look at such data, it will inspire you to consciously go towards diversity thought process. So I have listed down, for want of better recollection, 5 things that we have been doing, all of us, universe. I'm not talking only of my organization, but I personally now, a summary of 15 years of speaking and working on this subject. Today, if you draw a quadrant, there are 4 things you have to encapsulate if you really want to make a difference in your ecosystem. FICCI is present here. The organization which is hosting this is present there, and they have a responsibility to think about what is happening in the country from the lens of the diversity. So the first quadrant is country. Second quadrant is my family. Okay, family could be anything. You define your family, but family. Third is a workplace. Workplace can be your own company, the company where you work, or empaneled, or if you are empaneled with several organizations, that could be your workplace. What you do and what you work. So that is the third. And the fourth and the most important one is the self. And mind you, I'm talking about all this with the lens of equity, for the lens of belongingness, from the lens of diversity, and from the very complicated lens of inclusion. Because self, I have studied, finally I realized it's not men nor women. It's not people who have different sexual orientation or different abilities. It is the individual who is responsible for presence of inclusion or lack of it. And I will explain. Any underrepresented segment you see, any in your organization, have a conversation about their, just one simple question I have learned, not big words. That's why I now don't talk about the HR language for at least 5 years now. So what next? So, hi Ms. Basu, or Ms. Bose, or Mr. Kapoor. What next? Just this question, and take a pause. You will have amazing conversation with that person. And the insights. Talking normally, if you see, you will write down aspiration deficit. The underrepresented segment is underrepresented because of many times there's aspiration deficit. Now, I'm not going to write a book on why, because there are many whys. Being a psychology student, I know that if my conditions have not pushed me, okay, and the conditions could be one of the quadrants, any or all of them. If the conditions are not pushing me up, then what's the point in aspiring? What's the point of changing your job? What's the point of asking for a raise? What's the point of what's the point, you know? So this is where the third space, which is a workplace, comes into the picture, very important, and which I think is the current context that we are all sitting together. So the workplace is something where lot of push and nudges have worked, lots and lots of them. What are we looking at? Workplace is not interested in a man or a woman or a black or a white or South Indian or North Indian. Workplace is interested in diversity of thoughts. Workplace is interested in innovation. So in the past, diversity sits in HR department or sustainability department or, God save me, maybe in finance department. And tick box, included in the people strategy. Today, diversity is, must be, should be, has to be center of strategy. Because you are looking for innovation, you are looking for growth, you are looking for global encapsulation of your products, you are looking at customer centricity. And unless you have people or teams who think about your customers' ecosystem, customers' growth, you will not be able to really move ahead beyond a point. Very interestingly, in TCS, all of us do agree that if we are not seen as a very diverse organization, seen we are not, but then at the leadership level, top leadership level, every quarter, but step back, we have been a very successful organization, okay, with the high retention rates, low attrition, high growth, quarter on quarter, year on year. So where is that coming from? But the question internally that everybody asks is, what got us to $20 billion will not take us to $100 billion. And the aspirations have to remain high, and then that is where the equity comes into the picture. Very interestingly, the equity word has crept in about 4 or 5 years ago in this conversation. So first it was, if I remember, in 2007 or 8, I started talking about diversity. At that time, it was only diversity. Slowly, inclusion crept in. Slowly, then equity crept in. And very recently, people are now started talking about belongingness. And that is where the embedded strategy is appearing. And now I am a big proponent of saying that take diversity back into HR department. Okay, or people department, or whoever is responsible for people engagement. In the previous panel I heard, I didn't hear the other ones earlier, it's my bad. But very interestingly, HR is ready to embrace and make it one of the pillars of their strategy. I would say a very important pillar in the center. So one, I will say, define core competencies, understand the core competencies of your organization. When I say core competencies, I mean to say what is important to the organization. Second is define ownership. First, I'm talking about the how of it. So define ownership. Whether it sits under CEO like it does in TCS now, or it sits under CHRO, doesn't matter. But define ownership. A fairly senior person whose only job is to ensure there is equity in everything everything that happens in the organization, and that is why core competencies are important. And once that you have defined that ownership and core competencies, then comes the very simple, very common, all of you know about it, the vision, the mission, and the values in each of the whether you call it pillars or drivers of core competencies. And I'll give you an example. If sale is important, of course sale is important to every organization, but if hiring is important, so hiring can be one lever. When you are hiring 1,000 people, what percentage of women are coming in? The people with different abilities, people with different orientations, people with, these are the two ones, will never be in large numbers. Okay, so you can't say 1, 2, 3, 4%. You can't define percentage. But if you are hiring 1,000, at least 5 you can look for. So all of us have been getting away by saying we are an equal opportunity employer and we hire whoever comes. No, that's not enough. Because where is the conscious, intentional inclusion efforts from you? You have to intentionally go to universities where you find more underrepresented segments. You have to consciously go to areas where you will find ethnically different from what your current workforce is, but different segment. So if I am working in Punjab, I have to travel to Guwahati. I have to travel to Salem. I have to travel to colleges in North, in Jammu Kashmir to hire people who are usually not found in and around, let's say, Punjab or Uttar Pradesh and all. Similarly, if I am headquartered in South, I have to do the reverse. Mind you, what I like and very excited about this whole conversation is that we are focusing on India. Every day we don't have to focus on universe. Okay. First, let us get our country going up. You all know the gender index where we are, 180th or 170th. I think we are going down and down. So that is where country and FICCI are most important. What are we doing in that space? And I'll tell you, when I started some years ago in a very dedicated manner, I looked at where is the problem and data measurement. So my fifth one is, okay, I spoke about define ownership. Sponsorship does play a part. Please take it. It does play a part. Visible sponsorship does play a part. So if you are not the senior most in your company, somebody sponsoring you who is the senior most in the company will be a big boost, and what you would be achieving in 1 year, you can actually achieve in 6 months because people will start paying attention to you. So the another one is measurable outcomes. Please look at that every quarter or every year, what does your CEO speak about in the media? What does he present? Oh, we have done success. Why? So he'll talk about revenue, they will talk about profitability. So you will find out what drives profitability and revenue. I'm just giving 2 examples. And then those factors you start looking at. I look at promotions. Okay, when I promoted 100 people, who did I promote? Did I promote homogeneously, or whether I am also having some difference over there? And if I'm assigning people to critical assignments, have I, again, if panel, my segment is homogeneous, then I'm looking at people who are traveling a lot. I look at that diversity. People are being assigned to functions like this or sessions like this. Who's going? People who are actually sent for training, who are going there? These are the small things which are very important to us, and trust me, a 53-year-old organization representative is telling you, we only started looking at it just not even 10 years ago. So I can bet, I don't want to know, but I can assume that many of our small and medium or large organizations are still not looking at it because the focus is only sales and revenue and profitability and capturing the market and going for IPO. Trust me, you will do it much better. Stop talking about diversity. Just roll up your sleeves and look at these 5-6 measurable outcomes and go for it. Visibility will come when the results start coming. So that is why I very carefully in the morning looking, I will not call it results and metrics and dashboard. What will I call? I want outcomes, and I want them to be easily measured by a CFO or a CEO. And that is what I want. It's not easy. Trust me, what I'm saying is it's not easy, but we have to start somewhere and we have to end somewhere. This journey is not likely to end. Whether you are sitting in a Wall Street in New York or whether you are sitting in a very small office in what place? Varanasi. Okay? The ecosystem is the same. We still have less diversity in New York, and we still have lesser diversity in Varanasi. So the work, whoever actually will do it, hands-on in small pockets, the visibility will come. Tribal mindset has to go. I will hire a woman, because they are hardworking and they don't cheat and they are likely be very sincere and loyal to me. So I will hire my type of people who speak the same language. No, Ritu, that's not right. You are doing wrong. You will get what you were. So if you are going to hire people like you are going to really not grow very much. But I consciously went and hired somebody. Hired when I say internally. I went and brought somebody who had a different sexual orientation into my team. How much I learned from them, you can't even imagine. I hired a black person to join me in my team. I've got lots of men in my team because I learned from them that how they think so clinically. I'm I still, if I'm shouting at somebody because somebody didn't do a good job, I still go and say sorry after 3-4 hours. Hours, not days, hours. My boss never did that to me, in the ever. So empathy always is not needed in the workplace, but I will define new leadership attributes and I will say empathy is definitely needed. And that lesson to me came because I hunted for diversity. I don't like the word affirmative action. I really don't want it, but yes, if you have two equal people, equally qualified, equal experience, clear the interviews, and I can only hire one, I will definitely hire the underrepresented segment, underrepresented in my organization. I shamelessly say this. So, must-haves are, and this you have to shamelessly trust me, blindly. Conversations, non-judgmental conversation. Listen more listening type of conversations. We've got amazing success by just having conversation. It's very painful because you want to have 20 people, give one sermon and move on. Oh, I connected with 100 people. In my report, 85,000 people I met. Okay. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about one-on-one. And I've created a full functional lever with that. It works beautifully. And I'm talking about a very, very large, rather largest organization in this country after government and military services. So if I can do it, you definitely can do it. Segments for polarized feedback. Create small segments. Okay, for you, small may be 100. For a large organization, small could be 1,000. Doesn't matter. You define your size and scale. But divide your company in your mind, segments, and create small Zoom groups, Teams group, whatever groups. Today, I think 2020 and 2021 has taught us a lot of things. So digitally create segments and let the segment be there. You will say amazing conversation, and if HR person is listening, the policies, the practices, the new thinking will start coming in and you will pick up those ideas. That is the second thing must have. Personalize experiences and training. Don't dish out the same training to everybody. Hey guys, today we are having an executive leadership training, please come. No. But if you have done 1 and 2, third will become very personalized because you will handpick the people who need negotiation, people who need amplification, people who need training on something else. That will engage the people. The great resignation is gone. It is Western concept. It is not Indian concept. The great retention is what it is today. And I heard many of you speaking about it, and it's very right. And fourth one is get overrepresented segment as allies. I'm so proud of myself. I've never said women and men in this 20 minutes. So get overrepresented segment to become allies in your mission. Okay, because for you, overrepresented segment may be something else. For me, overrepresented may be something else. It is universal concept. Adopt it. And I'll give you my example that all of us will have a hesitancy about people who are transgenders or gay or lesbians to come out in an organization, especially if they are fairly senior in the organization. No matter you say that I've got a psychologically safe environment and all, they will really hesitate. So we created a segment called LGBTQ+ and allies. So even I joined it. You understand? Because I am an ally, because I support them. We've got more than 1,000 people coming out and talking. And our general counsel in one country is in that space, and they're talking. It warmed my heart. Some small things actually work. You really sleep at night smiling with a big smile on your face. Try it out, it works. Fifth, funnel. Funnel is a very interesting concept. I was wondering how come my diversity in hiring pool is going down. We are hiring 100,000 trainees in a year. And we used to be 45%, now we've gone down to 35%. Why? So I started looking at the funnel that from application to actual joining. I got the block where the drop was higher for women than men. We are like going with the AK-47 rifle over there. What is happening over there? So this is an example. To look at the funnel, that if all managers are recommending 50-50 men and women, I use that word now. Okay, men and women. Where is the women drop happening? In the recommendation, or in the interview, or in the final approval? Okay, then you will get the answer. So funnel in everything is a very big concept. And second last, promotion pyramid is very interesting. You will find such amazing insights. I don't want to talk about it, but you will find reasons within than outside. There is no family, there is no conditioning, there is no society coming in there. The moment a girl is an engineer, if you have 50 girls in an engineering college and 50 boys in an engineering college, that means girls are ready as ready as men. And in every result, I see girls are either neck to neck or outscoring men. Okay, then what happens in the corporates? Corporates are responsible. You are doing something, I am doing something which is not so right, which gives girls confidence enough to move ahead. So promotion pyramid is a very important concept. Evaluate it, what it means, and do something about it. Last but not the least, exits. Exits are also very, very important. The way you send out people is the one which gets people in. And that is why I had it in my mind that I must mention exits. Exits, who are you exiting? Who is unallocated? Who's not getting the job? Most of the time you say people disabled. Like I've got so many blind people in the organization. I put 200% extra effort in our HR machinery to ensure they are always getting an assignment so that they are not ever on that great resignation path and all. We do lose some because many organizations are gunning for them, but it's a very heartwarming thing that they are also the same. So these are some of the 7-8 points which I wanted to share with you. A lot more, but I'll be happy if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much for having me.
Well, in that case, to thank you personally, I'd like to request the kind presence of Mr. Rishi Kapoor to please join us on stage. And may I request all of you to once again put your hands together for her. She mentioned some fantastic points. Thank you.